Mario, I'm usually really confident about everything we do, but today, man, I hope we didn't bite off more than we can chew. Oh boy.
The ocean, a vast wilderness where life began millions upon millions of years ago, and to this day remains one of the most unexplored environments on our planet. Within its depths live an abundance of mysterious creatures, many that often surpass even our wildest imaginations, and some of them have even emerged as the monstrous icons of our greatest fears. My name is Mark Vins. I am a filmmaker, adventurer, and director of the Brave Wilderness Channel. Together, through the lens of our cameras, you've joined me and the crew on countless journeys through the most extreme habitats on Earth. You have followed along as we've taken you closer to the world's most bizarre and misunderstood creatures than any film crew in history. And today, I am proud to say that it is those adventures that have led me to this moment, to an opportunity I have dreamt about since childhood. The moment I begin my exploration of the Great Blue Wilderness. But this is no solo mission. I will be surrounded by familiar faces, and some new ones as well. With Mario taking over as director, I will proudly step in front of the camera to lead a band of aquatic explorers on one of the most ambitious marine projects ever embarked upon. Because you see, you've been along since the very beginning.
Yeah!
There are no rehearsals on this stage. You've seen us become dive certified, and even witnessed our very first dives in the open ocean. And the adventures to follow will not only test our bravery, but our commitment to the word adventure itself. And these expeditions start now, because today, you will witness our very first shark encounter. And there will be no cages. Welcome to Tiger Beach. Located off the coast of West End Grand Bahama, this location is not a beach at all, but rather a world-famous destination for shark diving. More specifically, tiger shark diving. What makes this dive site so special are the powdery white sand bottoms, the beaches, if you will, that reflect brilliant ambient light through warm, crystal clear tropical water, creating a very special shark diving experience that is world-class and second to none. And not only will you see tiger sharks, you can encounter up to 5 different species, all formidable, all top marine predators, all on the same dive. To say we were starting out our shark diving adventures in a big way might be a bit of an understatement. And with this being such a landmark moment for Mario and I, we simply couldn't imagine doing this adventure without inviting along someone very special.
All right, guys, here we are. Big day. We're about to head offshore to swim with tiger sharks. This is going to be so crazy, and I think you guys know we couldn't do this without our main man, so we flew him in especially for today. Coyote's here, guys. What's up, buddy?
Hey, hey.
How was your flight?
Oh, it was excellent. Only a few hours to get down here. This is an epic-looking boat. Permission to come aboard?
Granted, come on.
All right.
Are you excited to swim with these giant sharks?
A little nervous, but also extremely excited. This is our first time getting to work with a predator of this size, specifically an ocean predator, so I'm ready to get in there with the tiger sharks.
All right, well, we got your gear all set up out back. Let's go check it out.
Okay, off we go.
With the crew now complete and all aboard our home at sea, we set off for Tiger Beach. Some 20 miles offshore, our destiny awaited, and with it, the hungry teeth of tiger sharks. So how does it feel being the director?
It's different. Definitely, I used to take kind of the secondary role in the camera, but now I'm stepping up to direct. And yeah, it's a learning process, and I'm excited to see what's to come.
Now, I think it's fair to say that this expedition was unlike anything we've ever done before. Not only was it a new challenge, it was a new danger as well. And to be honest, it was the first time I've ever experienced true fear prior to one of our trips.
Oh boy.
Now I know that might seem odd, since I filmed everything from grizzly bears and wolverines to the world's deadliest spider. But I won't lie, I was nervous. I know the majority of my fear stemmed from my inexperience with sharks. But let's face it, these are sharks. Big sharks, with razor-sharp teeth. So it goes without saying, expert guidance would be essential. And as luck would have it, Jonathan Bird and his team of Blue World divers were available to join the trip. Jonathan and his crew have over 20 years of underwater filmmaking experience, and his Emmy Award-winning program, Jonathan Bird's Blue World, is in its 6th season. Let's just say these guys know what they're doing, and they had some critical advice for us shark diving rookies.
All right, guys, well, we have our gear on and the boat is completely surrounded by sharks right now. We wouldn't be doing this if we weren't with an expert, and today we have Jonathan Bird from Jonathan Bird's Blue World here to teach us what we're doing and keep us safe. Is this safe?
It's safe.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not aggressive towards divers. The only thing you want to do is just try to not be prey by not acting like prey. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to wear gloves and a hood so you don't have any skin showing. They won't think that looks like fish, you know.
Okay.
And then when you hit the water, you want to get straight to the bottom. You don't want to flounder around like you might be something flopping on the surface that they might want to eat. So you just want to get to the sand, and then once you're down there, they're going to treat you just like they treat everything else in the ocean. You're just another creature there.
Okay, so don't flap and splash around on the surface.
No.
Trying to grab
not.
my camera, just go
Just
down.
grab your camera, boom, right to the bottom.
Okay, did you hear that, guys? We're going in. Coyote, are you ready?
About as ready as I'm gonna be. Let's get in there with those sharks.
In addition to Jonathan's mentorship on dive techniques and camera operation, his keen sense of shark behavior would be crucial in assuring our safety underwater. After going through and prepping our dive gear, we had a final safety briefing with the crew of the ship. A serious shark bite this far at sea, even with the fastest life flights, would almost certainly be fatal. This fact was not meant to scare us, but was a stern reminder that strictly following shark protocol was an absolute must. The moments between the safety briefing and preparing to dive are hazy in my mind even to this day, as the reality of getting in the water with sharks became very real very quickly.
Well, we've done all the intro shots. We're suited up and we're actually about ready to get in there with the sharks. I'm looking over the surface. Check this out. Guys, there's a lot of big sharks down there. It's one thing to talk about getting into the water with these top predators. It's another thing to actually do it. So I'm a little on edge, I'd say. And I know it's gonna be cool, but there is that moment of actually jumping off the boat that I've been kind of dreading. And yeah, I guess it's my time. Let's go and get in the water with those giant sharks. Here we go.
The water was now thick with chum, and the stench of decaying fish filled the air. My heart was pounding as countless sharks circled our perimeter, and time seemed to slow down. The sight below drove fear into even the bravest among us. We all made our way to the platform, hoping to find a shred of comfort in our pre-dive routine. But nothing could distract us from the obvious. Getting in the water was inevitable, and that moment was now. One by one, Jonathan and his crew descended below, each plunge drawing us closer to the edge. Then Coyote gave me one final glance, and off he went. I stood motionless as I watched him disappear beneath the surface.
Mario, I'm usually really confident about everything we do, but today, man, I hope we didn't bite off more than we can chew. Regardless, I got your back.
Got your back too, man. Let's
All right,
do it.
You ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
By this point, the chum had drawn in hordes of lemon sharks. And maybe it was just me, but they seemed to be getting bigger and bigger right before my very eyes.
Well, with every shark dive comes the moment where you actually have to dive in with the sharks. That moment is right now. Oh boy.
As I plunged beneath the surface, cool water rushed through my wetsuit, sending an instant shock up my spine. My eyes scrambled, struggling to adjust just as they always do when first entering the water. However, this time was different. This time, I knew I was completely surrounded by sharks. But something strange happened as the environment around me came into view. The nerves I felt above the water instantly vanished and were replaced by laser focus. In a snap, my vision and other senses elevated to a hyperstate, a sensation I had never felt until this very moment. Within these few but critical milliseconds, my entire perspective changed. I was indeed aware of the countless lemon sharks around me, but I could also sense their intentions were not to attack. If anything, they seemed curious. Oddly enough, I actually began to feel calm. Then, I quickly remembered my training to not stay at the surface in the feeding zone. So with that, I began my slow descent to the bottom. The water clarity was incredible. Light beams cut through the surface and glistened all around me. Sharks and reef fish of all sizes flowed in and out of view in perfect harmony. And my heightened sense of awareness made this journey all the more spectacular. As I neared the bottom, the crew came into focus. Only another 10 feet to go. And like the lunar module coming in for a moon landing, I prepared for impact. Then with a slow and subtle thud, I had landed at Tiger Beach. The thud quickly triggered my mind and body into action mode. It was time to survey the sharks I could see, but more importantly, start searching for the ones I could not. Lemons, reef, and nurse sharks circled the group, making an eclectic mix of predators. And although they were pretty good size, they nearly vanished in plain sight. My eyes were searching for one thing and one thing only: tiger sharks. I know it's hard to fathom how a giant 10-foot plus shark could literally appear out of nowhere, but trust me, they really can. And the most dangerous shark is always the one behind you. Suddenly, a dark shadow began to appear, moving like a stealthy submarine from the edges of the ocean. My heart must have been racing 1,000,000 miles a second. And then, a quick burst of adrenaline allowed me to process the fact that an enormous tiger shark was headed straight for me. I couldn't believe my eyes as the shark glided past. It was so big. Its mass literally displaced the water around me, pushing my body aside by the power of its wake. And just as I was coming to grips with the reality of the situation, like a phantom, it was gone. To be honest, I never imagined I would find myself in this situation, kneeling at the bottom of the ocean, face to face with a tiger shark. And the crazy part was, I couldn't wait for it to come back. Knowing where the sharks are at all times is the only way to prevent an accidental attack, which is also the most frequent kind of attack that occurs in these situations. And knowing the location of the sharks is a team effort. Everyone checking their surroundings and signaling to unsuspecting divers of a shark's whereabouts. Sharks by their very nature are curious. You can sense this immediately being in their presence. Their eyes constantly scanning, their movements subtle and calculated. But the one thing sharks also do is investigate with their mouths. And this is not what you want to happen to your body 40 feet below the surface. Even a taste test in these situations can be fatal. So knowing where and how a shark is approaching you is vital to avoiding any regrettable situations. When we first arrived at the bottom, the sharks were still very cautious, circling us at a distance of 15 feet or more. But with every lap, they became more and more confident, especially when the dive master began to introduce food. Seeing the sharks chow down giant chunks of fish was a quick reminder of the seriousness of those teeth. The way they could just devour fish after fish after fish was extremely impressive. In fact, their jaws are so strong, they can even crack the shell of a sea turtle. While in feeding mode, this initiated the sharks to investigate the rest of us. Almost as if they were thinking, who else has some tasty fish for me? Well, none of us did, so when this happened, it created some spectacular flybys. One after another, they would approach and veer to the right, and then to the left, and sometimes right overhead. The overhead shots were by far the most fun to film. In fact, the sharks got so close, you could actually see the electroreceptors in their snouts, which are used to detect prey. At this point, Mario, Coyote, and I were having a blast. Even Jonathan was getting into it. I could tell how mesmerized we had all become by these apex predators. Their intelligence, just as formidable as their jaws. Then, just as their curiosity and comfort levels hit their peak, came the contacts. As scary as this sounds, it's actually quite simple to redirect them away from you. The key to this maneuver is to gently palm down the shark's snout and push it away from you, letting its momentum do all the work. Check this out. Look at that barrel roll. Believe it or not, it was actually kind of fun having these contacts. But then there are times when the contacts get a little bit dicey. And to no fault of his own, Coyote, well, let's just watch. Yikes, that was close. So close. In fact, let's watch that again in slow-mo. See, one thing you don't want to happen when making contact with any shark is place your hands or any part of your body under its nose. This will trigger a reflex that drops the shark's jaws, and yeah, you can kind of fill in the rest on why this is bad. Good thing Coyote got lucky and was able to quickly avoid that chomp, or this would have turned into a horrific bite episode. Definitely not something we ever want to happen. After Coyote's close call, we all realized our air was running low, and it was time to head back to the boat. One by one, we ascended to the safety stop just below the ship. At this point, I could see the smiles all around. We had done it. We successfully completed our first major shark dive. And what made it most special is that we had done it together.
That was pretty amazing, guys.
Wow, were those some up-close encounters with some gorgeous sharks. I don't think you get much closer to the tiger shark than I got on that dive. Amazing. Whew. All right, let me get this gear off.
Well, guys, we did it. We dove with some really giant sharks. Dude, that was awesome. What a great way to start off the Blue Wilderness series. And I, for one, cannot wait until our next adventure. I'm Mark Vins.
And I'm Coyote Peterson.
Be brave.
Stay wild.
We'll see you on the next dive.
While this is only the beginning of our explorations on Blue Wilderness, I will always look back on this adventure as the one that truly reshaped my perspective of the ocean. And more importantly, of sharks. While the lore and fictions of pop culture have painted them as menacing monsters of the deep, the reality is they are highly intelligent and inquisitive creatures, rightfully deserving to be respected, but above all, cherished for what they truly are: survivors of time, ancient relics of an abyss that is millions upon millions of years old. In many ways, they have already discovered the secrets of the ocean. Our goal is to learn from them, and with any luck, uncover some of its mysteries for ourselves.
Oh, see that right there? Hammerhead.
Oh yeah.
100% there's a hammerhead down there. The hammerhead is here, guys.
We'd like to extend an extra special thank you to Jonathan Bird and the crew aboard the Dolphin Dream. You can check out some of Jonathan's other adventures on his YouTube channel, Blue World TV. And if you like that up-close encounter with the tiger sharks, just wait until we come face to face with the hammerhead. And don't forget, subscribe and click the notification bell so you can follow me and the crew on this season of Blue Wilderness.